Russell Robertson joins us on the official unofficial podcast of the Melbourne Demons. And my friend, we are rocking, we are rolling, and things are good all of a sudden.
Good time to come into the studio, mate.
Perfect.
You asked me this 6 weeks ago. I was, maybe not.
I think you canned it 2 or 3 times.
I did.
And I did not blame you.
No.
Because things were not good. It was looking grim. And then suddenly things are looking bright again. And I said to you off air, I think the best thing at the moment is it feels like a team that is in sync.
Yeah, we're the talk of the town. We really are. I mean, there's some good clubs out there, and we know what Collingwood are doing, and we know but I think everyone's sort of looking at Melbourne going, what's going on here? Are they good? Are they? Because they've got Petrarca, they've got the GOAT gone, they've got, Oliver and Viney, but then it drops off. They thought it dropped off. But I said to you, I think maybe 6 or 7 weeks ago when we caught up, I just feel like our senior players are not really hitting their straps. And I'm talking about Salem and Bowie and we didn't have Jarden. We had a few guys out. There were some injury concerns. And we were looking to the young kids for some inspiration.
Yeah.
And it came. And it came through Xavier. It came through you've got Disco doing his thing as well. And I just think a lot of guys, the older guys, sort of saw that and went, I better pull my finger out here because, they're showing us the way and it needs to be the other way around. We need to be showing them the way. So quite a turnaround.
It's a big turnaround. The other thing that's helped us is continuity. We're settled. There was a bit of chopping and changing that happened in the first month of footy. Unfortunately, we're not like a Collingwood who can roll one man in when they get an injury and it doesn't really affect their game plan and their style and whatnot. I'm very envious of what they've got in that respect.
Yeah.
So that's not me shitting on the fact that I don't think we've got great depth, but there aren't a lot of blokes down at Casey level that are banging on the door and pushing for selection. So if you look at our team at the moment, it's really only Jack Viney that isn't in the side, and we hope Jack's okay from a concussion point of view and he comes back in relatively soon. So continuity has helped, and I think continuity, and I made this point on the review show, it's helped the most, in my opinion, from a defensive standpoint. Because now we're starting to see guys like McVee, Windsor, Bowie, Christian Salem, who's wound back the clock, and not necessarily Jake Lever and Stephen May. Yeah. It's more our half-backers that I think we're getting the most growth out of. The reason I say that, Robbo, is because I don't think it's any coincidence that we end up kicking 82 points on turnover because you need to have aggressive half-backers that are pushing up, they're mopping up, they're generating drive, they're getting involved in scoring chains. And I've always felt that the most underrated part of our side is all those blokes that I've just mentioned. And now that they've been able to play a small block of footy together, I think we're starting to see the result from a scoring perspective. And that's where we're at now.
100%. And there's another part to what you're talking about there. Obviously, your halfbacks, and you want them to be really strong. You want them winning the ball. And I feel like they're a lot cleaner, and they are backing themselves in and winning the ball, not fumbling it and just handing it over. They've got that confidence, but they're also getting a lot of help from ball that isn't as slick because of the force pressure that's coming from the other end. So I would have said to you the first 5 or 6 rounds of the season that we just let the ball fall out of our forward line far too easily. And that's just a no-no. We know this. And we were looking for someone to fix that up. Bailey was playing higher. Kozzy was not in the team through suspension and what have you. I just feel like they've cleaned that up and got a lot better at that. Van Rooyen, that situation. You get Petty back in the forward line, and if all of a sudden you got some real danger, and you want Van Rooyen playing well, and he'll get himself going at some point. That pressure is coming from marking the ball in our forward line. Melksham's really, really good at this. It's fixing us up. It's holding the ball in there a little bit longer. It's giving our mids a chance to set up a wall so that they just don't waltz it back out. Yeah. And that's happening. So ball going into opposition forward lines at the moment is strained. It's long, it's high, it's harder, it's wider. And we can set a little bit. Bowie brings Bowie into the game. It brings our halfbacks into the game, and then they go from there to an unstructured forward line again, and we can score. So, football's one hand, hand in gloves, scratch all that sort of stuff. It's going on all the time. Synergies between all these areas really need to happen. So it's really hard to be a coach, and you've got your line coaches and you want them to, you know, get their stuff sorted. And I feel like they're getting their stuff sorted.
They are sorted. I want to fixate on Jake Bowie again. And I know we've sung his praises this year and we haven't done many episodes yet, and that's fine. I don't think we necessarily wanted to speak in the first 5 weeks of the season. As I said before, it was so grim. But Jake Bowie, during that whole entire period, the whole 11 games, he's been phenomenal. Someone said to me, do you think he's in the top 3 of the best and fairest? And the fact that I said probably is just a testament to him. When you think about Max Gawn, Christian Petrarca, we think about the form that we're starting to see Clayton Oliver get himself back into, the Stephen Mays and Jake Levers of this world. I think Jake Bowie probably is in the top 3 in our best and fairest. And what an incredible compliment that is, because we've still got some serious quality on the list. He always had it, and I think where we probably excused Jake Bowie from our conversations about him being an important part of this side was the fact that he got a collarbone injury in the first round of last season, in opening round against Sydney. It just knocked the stuffing out of him, Robbo, because then suddenly he comes back in from the cold after 8 or 9 weeks and he just couldn't get himself going. And not only that, when you come back into a side that started to regress, like we started well, 6-2, and then suddenly he's back into the team. We're losing games of footy. And Jake Lever went out, which wouldn't have helped him. We're just starting to see a player blossom that I felt would have blossomed last year. Yeah. He just got that horrible injury.
I see, going back to my own career, and I do this because I'm trying to understand what each individual's going through right now in terms of the stage of their career, what their mentality is and what their physicality is. So Bowie's, in his 6th, 7th year of AFL footy, maybe even 5th. I feel like he's coming into the philosophical era. So first 5-6 years, you are all about your raw ability, your athleticism. You play under 18s, you play juniors, and you're just going at it. You don't know. We know what it's like being 18, mate. You don't know what you're thinking. As a boy, we don't know what we're doing. We're just doing, right?
I was useless.
Useless, just doing. Yeah. And you hope that it shows enough to get you to a situation where it can be harnessed. Yeah. So then it's up to our team, coaches and development to bring through the philosophical side so you can put them both together. So I think Bowie's starting to get to that. You know, I'm starting to use the noggin a little bit more and combining it with the physical. He's still got really good physical attributes. And I reckon beyond that, like Salem, you go to Salem now on the other flank, he's more into his philosophical. He's not all about, and you noticed that on the weekend. He wasn't hardcore, was he? He wasn't. No. He left that up to others. And we leave him to pick and choose his way through. And that's why I love teams that look after their senior players, their older players, because they've gone through that physicality stage. They've learnt so much and they just become an encyclopedia of football. You hold on to them so that they can teach those other kids that encyclopedia, but also use it out on the ground. And they still will. They'll use their wily. And I remember when I was 30, I came back from my Achilles injury. I felt so good. I had 6 months off. I'd never had that before. Yeah. From the age of 16, I just went for it. I don't want to make this about me, but it's just it's just a great way.
It's your segment.
Mate, if you're talking to an ex-player, I suppose this is what we do, is help you understand it by using our own experiences.
Of course.
I felt like I was all about the physicality, about the showmanship, the jump, the goal, the celebration, not thinking about it too much. And then towards the end of my career, I had all this knowledge. Then I had 6 months off, which I never had from the age of probably 15, probably even earlier. And I came back refreshed, felt great. Yes, I still wasn't great at tackling and the game was changing, but I wanted to learn that and get better at that. Unfortunately, I didn't get that chance. But I felt like I knew the game so much better just by purely watching for a bit. And I went out in the ground. I played on Matty Scarlett my first game back. Kicked 3 goals on him.
I got through him.
Yeah, and he said... And I think I was off and on too, just sort of working my way back through. And he said to me, out on the ground, I love Scarlo, he's one of my favourite humans. A lot of people probably watched him and thought, I hate him because he dominated Nita for so long.
He was so good though.
He was so good. Yeah. But he was a great guy, and he still is. And he said to me out on the ground, geez, you're moving well, Robbo, because this is my first game back. And I said to him, mate, I feel great. I feel great. I feel like I just had to sort of warm myself back into it. So the point of what I'm trying to say there is that we go through these stages with our careers. Salo's in that philosophical era, and we need him. We want him, and just harness him, get him through like Collingwood's doing with their old guys.
True.
And we just let Xavier Lindsay and Harvey Langford go for it, guys.
Yeah.
Van Rooyen, get out there. Just go for it, mate. And hopefully he does enough to stay out there as well. So I encourage you, if you're watching our boys play, think about it in terms of that. Don't put too much pressure on our young guys to do it right. Put pressure on Melky to do it right. And he does it right, doesn't he? He's so philosophical. He's so good. He thinks his way through it. Early in his career, he probably didn't, but he had the talent to get through.
I want to speak about Clary, and then I want to jump back to Jacob van Rooyen and speak about him in more detail. He's easily the most talked about player on the list outside of your Clayton Olivers, Max Gawn, and how he's just continuing to be Max. He might have a 8th All-Australian jacket, which is just mind-blowing to think about. But Clayton Oliver, and I've indulged in this, and I think all Melbourne supporters have, and we should indulge again. The standing ovation, Robbo, it was spine-tingling. Mm-hmm. It was one of the best feelings I've had at the MCG in a long, long time.
Yeah.
But the thing that I loved the most about it, it wasn't necessarily the players converging on Clary and getting around Clary and seeing the shots of him on the bench and Goody smiling. It was the supporter base and the vibe at the MCG. Yeah. The vibes were so high throughout the whole day, and then that was the exclamation mark. I think it's a turning point for the club. Now, I was hypercritical in the first 5 weeks. I sat in this very chair and did a podcast after the Essendon loss, and I thought that we were done and dusted. I thought the window was closed. I thought the senior coach potentially had to think about a different career path, not at the Melbourne Football Club. I'm absolutely okay to sit here and eat as much humble pie as some supporters probably want me to. But the beautiful thing about that standing ovation was I think it's a club that knows that there's something brewing, there's something special here, and it might not amount to finals. It might amount to a 10, 11, 12 win season where we just miss out and people go, well, what was the fucking point? You didn't even make it. I disagree, because what I think it is it's a group that goes, Clary, we're with you. We know that you probably haven't held up your end of the bargain. I think the ovation as well, and just the scenes around Christian was exactly that. And the image that I saw of Christian and Goody arm in arm in the rooms was, again, something that's not on the footy field. It's off the footy field that I thought was really pure and says a lot about where we're at as a football club. So I think it's all these intangibles of love and care that I was probably shitting on in the first 5 weeks, because there was a lot of talk about love and unity. It's just taken an extra 5-6 weeks to actually see it on show. And when you get supporters all reveling together, hugging, cheering, and doing what they did for when Clary came off the field, I think it says to everyone, just stick together. Yeah. Just stick together and get through it. And if you do stick together, the results and the outcomes can be really fruitful. And that's the position we find ourselves in at the moment. So for us to be rejuvenated, for us to have a spring in our step is just such a nice feeling. Now the determined, motivated part of me and probably many Melbourne supporters is now we've got to go on with it, because there's something brewing.
100%. Let me preface my response by saying we can only speculate what it's like behind closed doors. The common term that Goody's been using probably since he first arrived was it's all outside noise, and what matters is what's going on in here. And we all understand that, and that's great. So, and we will speculate because we love it so much.
But don't listen to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't listen to me, and don't listen to, honestly, 80-85% of Melbourne supporters were probably feeling what I was feeling, and some of the other podcasts on the D's and some of the forums that I like to read on the D's. We're all feeling the same thing after the first 5 weeks. And to Benny Lee's point on the review show, we knew the talent was there. Yeah. So they weren't performing. It's just I think we were impatient, Robbo. We
want as players, as coaches, when I was playing, and what they want now is all of that. Don't worry. They want outside noise. If there's no outside noise, there's no game.
Yeah.
They don't get paid. There's no MCG. There's no game. So go for it. Get on your forums. Be angry. Talk it out amongst each other. There'll be people that go hard, and there'll be people that are quite measured to bring those hard back to the middle, okay? And it just does this. That's fine. You've got to do it because it means so much to you. So what I say is outside noise for the players, they've got to understand that that's going to happen, and we should allow it and we should bring it on. But what we've got to understand is, and what you've got to be smarter about as a player is what's happening here in this microcosm, this inside walls, is we worry about this because that's our job. Our job is to get the job done. Now, understand the players involved here. Clary Oliver, know something about Clary Oliver. He's the most wonderful guy.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I know you know him. I'm out on the footy field. I was quite nervous on the weekend because I had to do the Welcome to Country, and you don't want to stuff that up live to Channel 7. And I'm sort of sitting there doing my job as I usually do.
You did it well.
Thank you very much.
I saw it.
Thank you. And as the players run past, you know, they get the cheer as they're coming up the tunnel. You could hear the big cheer as Clary's come up the tunnel. And they all run past me and they get into their warm-up. He runs up behind me and gives me a cuddle from behind. Now, I don't know this guy like that. I never played with him. I've always been around a club, and he sees me and he understands me and he respects me. He gives me the cuddle from behind and runs on. What a legend, you know? And that's what he is to every single player in that team. He's the cuddler. They love him. And they understand what he's like, and he's had his troubles, but they love him. And it showed during the game how much they love him, and it also showed how much we love him. So they keep saying about Melbourne, they got the love back. Every club's got that. Shut up. You know, everyone's got that love thing going on. Look at Collingwood. They're all about love. So McRae is all about love.
Essendon about love, Rob? Are you about love? Are you no? Maybe.
Love, hate.
I don't think there's a lot of love down there. I think I use the word impatience. I think they're the most impatient team in the comp.
They are.
And they have to be.
Yeah. Look, it cooks. It's got to brew, you know, and it's for us right now, we've got the love. Yes, that's great in the McRae sense. I think Simon Goodwin's just like McRae, just like Fly. I think he's a very similar coach. He trusts his boys. He wants to be their mate, and he wants them to believe that they're great and put them out there with a game plan that works and go for it, and it'll turn. But it takes so much. So there's a long-winded answer, but let's move now to what is the responsibility of those guys on the inside walls, other than let everyone else talk about on the outside. On the inside walls, the responsibility of the board, the administration, is to put the club in a situation where the coaches and players can achieve their best. And I don't know if we've done that very well over the journey. We've tried. Peter Jackson did an amazing job when he came in, fixed things up. We got a premiership. We've got to go to the next level now. And I'm extremely confident that this board that we have right now are going to take us there. They are very, very good. Greenie, shithouse. Everyone else really good. I could say that because he's one of my best mates. Just kidding.
Cool.
Greenie, we love you. And he's probably the right guy to be like Jimmy was, the right guy at that time. Greenie, he's not a scholar. He's not going away to, he's not getting any Nobel Prizes, let's be honest. Neither am I, Greenie. But there are some guys on that board that probably would. And I'm very confident they're going to take us to the next level.
Have you met Paul Guerra yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
A very busy man. He's got to finish off his other stuff. But Paul is, and I'm speaking to another board member, is so confident in what he is. Understands sport, but understands business and how the two relate. And it was a long-winded process to find this particular guy. And I just used to get so angry, I'm sure you would too, when you'd watch those talk shows, and there's 100 million of them, where they're all on TV at the moment, Fox Footy and Channel 7.
They speak about the same shit, by the way.
Oh,
it's the same shit. They regurgitate.
Copycats.
Right? They regurgitate.
I know what's going on. No, you don't. You don't. Someone told you, and now you're bringing it to here. Yeah. You don't know what it's like behind closed doors. You wish you did.
Back to Paul.
Right. Back to Paul. The CEO. Oh, it's round 7. They still haven't got the CEO. They still haven't. Well, because numbnuts, you've got to find the right person. We're in the season. You know, we didn't put this out there in, expect it to just happen straight away. We need to find the right person because it's important right now, mate. that we, as a club, get the right guy. Really important to take advantage of the next 2 or 3 years of the talent that we still got on the list.
And Caulfield. Which we, I think, speak about every second episode. Caulfield.
It's going to happen, will happen. It's just about a matter of how it will happen and how it looks in relation to the Casey situation as well.
Get it done.
Yeah, so for me, to talk about Casey again, and Caulfield, how important Caulfield is to me, I feel like not necessarily the players, because I reckon you can find. David needs to tell you this right now. It doesn't matter where you train, Rocky 5. It doesn't matter where you go. You can train in the snow in Russia. Is that Rocky 5? That's Rocky 5.
I've never seen it.
No, Rocky 4. Rocky 4 is that one, isn't it?
I've never seen it.
I remember.
Adrian! Yeah. I've never seen it. People do
Rocky
that.
Rocky 5 was the bad one. Rocky 4 was the ripper with Ivan.
Rob, have you seen it? Rocky? Yeah. Okay. I'll watch it one day.
Gone to Russia. What the hell, man?
It's
crazy. This guy hasn't watched Rocky.
And he's called Adrian, isn't he?
Shaking his head.
He's called Adrian, and everyone always does it to me. It's like a little gag. They're like, Adrian!
No, Adrian's
and I always
wife.
say the same thing to them. Is Adrian his wife? And I always say the same thing. I go, I've never watched it.
I've never watched this. What? Come
and
on.
I've never watched Harry Potter.
I reckon tonight you're watching it. I'm with you with Harry Potter.
Never seen it?
That's too kiddie for me.
Yeah,
I missed all of that. Breaking Bad's a bit better than Harry Potter.
True.
Anyway.
Caulfield
will happen, and it's just a matter of how. But having that place where you and I, as supporters, can go, because that's what I am now, a supporter, can go and actually watch training. Gosh's paddock's okay, but feels just like it's stuck out there, and it's not easy to get to. I want somewhere where, like at Collingwood, they can go to the cafe there. They can walk through the museum and see. Like I walked through there the other day and got all this stuff with Buckley there. Just an expo. I'm buckling
the premierships,
premiership cups. It's amazing, and it gives you that sense of pride. I want that for you guys. I want that for you supporters to walk through and have that. I belong here. This is where we are, because we can't have the MCG. We're over that. We know that. We can't have it. That's fine. It's okay. But if we can build something, a heartland around that, but also have that Casey affiliation, because that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they can go out there and have a good training base, but as long as we're centred at Caulfield.
Paul, that's your big task. Get it done. Let's speak about a player who is playing at Casey, and it's Jacob van Rooyen.
Yep.
As I said before, everyone's chatting about Jacob, wondering when's it going to click, when are we going to see the player that everyone was bigging up in the preseason. I think my prediction was eerily similar to yours. Your breakout player was JVR, mine was JVR. I think we both predicted 7th spot on the ladder, which still could come true. We'll see how we go in the second part of the season. But it is disappointing because we thought in terms of his development, he would be a little bit further on and he'd be a rusted-on member of the side. But as someone who has played in the forward line many, many games for this football club, God, it's a hard position you find yourself in. Because I've often said this. I think as a defender, like if you're a forward-turned defender, it's a lot easier to figure out the defensive craft when the ball's coming in. And we've seen that. There's so many players in the AFL running around that have reinvented themselves as defenders. Now, Jacob van Rooyen, I don't think will ever be a defender because I have so much confidence still that he will eventually be a serious footballer for this football club as a forward. But the probably more the headspace and where he's at now, Robbo. Like, I can't see him coming back into the team when Petty and Johnson seems to be working. Like, we're putting up big scores. I don't think that's any coincidence. Those two tall pillars, structurally, it's working for us. So you got to stick with it. So what does he have to do? So headspace, how would the kid be feeling? And then the second thing is, what's he got to do to get back in?
Speculation again. What goes on inside his mind when he got suspended a couple of times for going pretty hard? Maybe that hurt him more than we know, because if you say to someone like him who's big and strong and can be brutal, just go out there and play. Go for it, mate. Just go for it, because that's what you want to need to do. You want him to just go for it. Get out there and just bust packs. That's what they'd be saying to him. But then he goes and busts packs, and then he has to sit on the sideline for 2 weeks because he got it wrong. Like, he's a big boy, right? Yeah, that's hard. And maybe that set him back a little bit, because now he goes out there going, well, I better not go too hard.
Do you think there's a slight timidness to it?
Yeah, because I don't think that's naturally him. I think he is a contested marking beast, and we want it, right? Yeah. But it's hard with the limitations. So For Jacob, I'm sure they're doing this with him to be like, go and watch the greats, go and watch the really good centre half forwards and half. I mean, I'll be looking at McKay, I'd be looking at Charlie, I'd be going and looking at who
Digby
else?
Morrell,
Jesse Hogan, Digby Morrell. That's going back. Gave him an absolute smashing one day at Princes Park. Just verbally smashed him as a shit set shot for goal. Poor bugger. I won't go into it. Go and watch Jesse Hogan and see how he's going about it, right? And just work your way. The only thing I could say as a coach is I'd be saying to him, just go for it, mate. Just go for it. Go for your marks. Go for everything. So when I came into the team, I didn't really have a clear role because I'm shorter than you, mate. Small half forward. Small half forward flanker, right? Where does this guy fit in? But I was a contested beast. Like, I just wanted the ball so badly. And I didn't give a shit if you were Jeff Farmer. I didn't give a fuck if you were David Neitz. Get the fuck out of my way. I'm getting the ball. It's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. And you're probably the guy to take it right now. But if you don't have that attitude, you are not going to make it, son.
That's why Aiden Johnson's working.
Yes.
He's got the exact same mindset. Now,
and keep going for it.
He's a limited footballer, but the first person that knows he's a limited footballer is himself.
Tackles the shit out of him too when he
tackles. And he just goes hard. The amount of goals he was involved in on the weekend, just purely from being a mongrel bastard.
Yep, straightens everything up.
Yeah, exactly. And Harrison Petty's the same.
So, Jacob van Rooyen, go out there. I don't care who's in your way. Take the mark. Go for it. Just go for it. And it'll work. It will work. Because, Aiden, like you say, big, tall guys, they don't get any shorter. And I needed Nita. I needed Shorter. I needed Gary, right? I needed those guys to be able to apply my craft. I got confidence from that. And if they were in my way, I'd sit on their heads. If I was in their way, they'd push me over. And please do, because you need to. That's how we go. That's how we play. Jeff Farmer, I think the thing he said to me most was not "G'day, Robbo." It was more "Get the fuck out of my space, Robbo." And you go, "Righto, mate. Okay, I'll get out of your space," because he wanted the ball. I wanted him to want the ball.
That's good. I love that. Kozzy.
Oh, God damn.
What do we say?
Oh, it's not just us Melbourne supporters. That's what's blowing me away. It's everyone is talking about Kozzy. And so they should. Rightly so. Here's an Indigenous star doing it in every spot on the ground.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Jeff Farmer was a forward.
Yes.
Right? Some of the greats for the Melbourne Football Club, Indigenous stars. Flash, I think he played his best football either in the forward line or on a half-back flank.
Half-back flank.
I don't think he was great in the middle because of the physicality of the middle. But his chase down, tough in the forward line, which was the precursor to the modern-day forward frontal pressure, and then goes to the half-back flank and just slices and dices, and it was wonderful to watch, wasn't it? Kozzy can do it all, mate.
So Kozzy can sit on blokes' heads. He can kick goals from anywhere.
Yep.
He's dynamic in traffic.
Can be a sledgehammer.
He needs to be. He can kick both sides, Robert.
Like his uncle.
But he can field kick both sides. Like, you've seen him turn into the corridor and use his opposite foot, and you wouldn't know whether he was right or left-footed. Yeah. He's got it all. Now,
his ceiling is unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
Unbelievable.
It's incredible. And I think it's not melodramatic to say that he could be a top 3, top 5 player in the competition.
No.
I think everyone can see that. And the thing is, you could sit here all day, and I do this with Max Gorn all the time. I just run out of superlatives, and I have for the last 3 or 4 years when talking about Big Maxi. But what is the club doing to keep him? Do you have any insights? Because I got some word the other day from someone who's close with one of the players at the club who plays regularly, and he said to me that Melbourne do go above and beyond for him. They do all these little 1%ers for him. Kozzy said it himself. They allow him to stay in WA for a little bit longer if we're playing over there. So clearly there's work being done behind the scenes. And I just want to know if you know anything around how can we build a support system and a network for him that allows us to keep Kozzy and allows Kozzy to remain happy and healthy here in Melbourne. I see him in the street probably every 2 or 3 weeks because he lives a couple of blocks over from me. I never bother him, because I'm like, he's a little god to me and I don't want to bother him.
No, I don't think he'd want to be bothered either.
No way. And he's just walking around with his pram and I'm walking around with my pram.
Yep.
But I'm like, I get it. It gets fucking cold here. I can understand if someone loves the sun and the lifestyle that they have over there in WA. Like, I get it. But what can we do?
It's boring over there. It's so boring in Perth. Yeah, good beaches.
Good beaches.
Good
But what can we do? Because there's a pool, Robbo. He's a bit homesick. There's a pool. He wants the warmer conditions. So what can we do?
The short answer is we're doing everything we possibly can.
Okay.
Right? And to do that, you can't go too crazy because that just becomes overbearing and it's ridiculous. If he wants to go, he'll go, right? If Jacko wants to go, he'll go. If Scotty Thompson wants to go, he'll go.
Good player.
You know, really good players. If they want to go, they'll go, and you can't do anything about it. What you got to do is safeguard your club and make sure they get looked after back the other way. While he's there, while that player is there, make them feel like this is a family. And I can tell you right now, categorically, if you think of something that would keep Kozzy here and you want to tell the club, rest assured they've already thought of it. And rest assured they're already doing it. Do not think for a second that this club is not doing everything it possibly can and not having meetings and late night meetings and long meetings going, what more can we do? What less can we do? You know, making sure they do absolutely everything right to keep the best talent on our list. And it's not just him, it's other players as well. What more can we do to bring players to our club? I just feel like everyone's stressing about this, and they rightly so, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime talent, prodigious. And we don't want to lose like we lost Jesse. We don't want to lose like we lost Dogger. You know, the Wiz back to Fremantle. If they're going to go, they're going to go. We're just doing everything that we possibly can to keep them. I talk to Greeny, speak to him once a week, and he's confident that, you know, we've got everything in place, and now it's just the waiting game.
When you say it's the waiting game, is that purely the agent of Kozzy coming to the table, having a discussion at some point towards the end of this year?
Yeah.
Or is it fluid? It's just ongoing dialogue and there isn't essentially a D-Day meeting, so to speak?
I think it's fluid. I think it's pretty fluid. I think the manager would say, look, let's just drop this for now and I'll come back to you in 5 weeks. We'll see where we're at. They'd have a plan around it. And I know managers typically are about how do we eke more money out of this.
Of course.
He's going to get as much money as he can possibly get, and as much as we can afford, we'll give him that. And I'm sure Max Gawn would take the cut. I'm sure players would take the cut to keep him here. I don't think it's going to be about money at the end of the day. I think it's going to be about family. I think it's going to be about how he feels here. You know, they'll get around Byron, they'll get around all the family, and that's how you make someone feel like they're at home. You know, I don't understand it because I come from Tasmania and there's no going home. You know, this is it. My family, and I latched onto this like it was the only thing I had in my life, and that's why I love this club so much. And I know all the players that played for Melbourne do. That's why I didn't leave. I got offered so much money to go to another club and extra years, and I went to Melbourne. I said, "This is ridiculous offer that I've been given. Ridiculous, way above what I deserved. Can you match it?" And Melbourne said, "You know, we can't match that." I said, "Fine, I'm staying anyway." I just
poker face
because they made me feel.
I love it.
The love and that I was special to the Melbourne Football Club, and that was important to me. So whatever's important to Kozzy, you got to let him live.
Who did you support as a kid?
Carlton. And now knowing what I know, I'm ashamed of that.
Robert DeGree.
What could you do?
Who's producing this? Because
can I say though that when I was growing up in Tasmania, we were very sheltered from football. It's the most important sport down in Tasmania, but we were sheltered from AFL, VFL football. Carlton was big on the northwest coast because they'd done some work down there to get some more supporters out of the Apple Isle. So there were a few. So that's probably why my family were all Carlton supporters.
Carlton. God, they're gross. We'll wrap, but before we do wrap, St Kilda.
Yep.
Into Collingwood on King's birthday, the big freeze. 11th instalment of that. That is incredible.
Unreal, Neil.
I can't believe he's here.
Unreal, Neil. I think that's the new
You
nickname.
probably can. You're probably one of those people who can believe he's here because you've seen it firsthand. He's such a fighter. He's a hard man. So you probably, no, that's Neil.
Yep.
He's 100%. Still around. That's Neil.
He would never go away.
But so many have been taken far, far sooner.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And then we go into Port Adelaide before we get to the bye. So to wrap on this, those 3 games for our season are absolutely critical. We have to get it done against St Kilda. I think we're a big chance against Collingwood, regardless of the fact that they're a super outfit. And then Port Adelaide at a happy hunting ground for us, Adelaide Oval. We love it over there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's our best away ground under Goody. Got to get 2 of the 3, and then suddenly you're 7-7 going into the bye, and we've got a fair income chance of maybe making a run for finals. How do you feel about the next 3?
So what's our expectations out of the 3, I suppose, and what are the real threats? So, okay, you got Saints, who were a bit of a bogey side for us.
Used to be.
I think that's changed a little bit, so we put that to bed. We've had some massacres up in Alice on both sides. We massacred Adelaide Crows, I think, and then Freo absolutely massacred us. Yep. So, and I was there for those. I'm going up on the weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait for our boys to bounce out there against the Saints. A Saints that are limping at the moment, really broken.
Yep.
I hope they're still broken for our sake, not for the club's sake and their supporters. And if we can roll through those guys with the same mentality that we've had over the last however long, and our mentality has been, we just do the work. Got to do the work. We've got to get the respect. We've got to find the respect by what we do and play the game plan. They'll be okay. And then you come back to the MCG, big King's birthday, and our expectation there is to compete, right? And do you expect to beat Collingwood? Given what we know about the season so far and where Collingwood are placed and resting players and their premiership clock and all that sort of stuff. You put that into the program, you press the button, what does it split out? Probably a Collingwood win, right? As a Melbourne supporter, I want Melbourne to win, but it's probably a Collingwood win. What we want to do, though, is be close, competitive, because you get confidence out of that, and we don't have to win. That's the key. You don't have to win. Love to win, but we don't have to. What we do have to do is compete, get confidence, and then roll into Port Adelaide and win. Okay?
Have to win that.
So, just temper your expectations a little bit. What do we want to get out of this game? Yeah, real competitive effort. We want to beat the Saints. You can't go to Alice Springs again and lose. That's going to be pretty disastrous, I would have thought. Come back here, play well against Collingwood, against a great team in front of a big crowd, and then you beat Adelaide. And then your season sort of looks okay, doesn't it? The rest of it.
It looks okay. The only problem when I looked is after the bye, it's the Gold Coast up there.
Yep.
Tough assignment.
Yep.
Then it's Adelaide Oval again against the Crows. So those 2 away trips, you'd want to split at least one of them.
Yep. That's okay. That's expectations. Are pretty good.
And then you're 8-8 before a fixture list that gets a bit kinder.
Are we thinking we're going to win a premiership this year? Of course not. We're not thinking that, But what are we thinking? Playing finals? We'd love to.
I'd love to.
A taste. So that's
I want to win a final though, Robbo.
Yeah, we'd be vying for that 8th spot. Would be great, considering where we've come from this year, considering our list: Harvey Langford, Xavier Lindsay. We've got Sharpie from Brisbane, who's brand new. Yeah. Right. We've got Kysaiah coming back. Van Rooyen, I still consider him brand new.
Disco's raw.
Comes in. Disco's so raw. Yeah. And there's probably 2 or 3 other guys that are raw. Temper your expectations a little bit. And if we're vying for that 8th spot, well, then 2026 for me is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I think getting a taste, it can only be a benefit to this group. I think if you were Essendon and you got a taste and you lost another final, it's just a different story.
Yeah.
It's a different narrative because suddenly the drought continues for Essendon. I think with Melbourne, given our age profile and our demographic, I think getting a taste is okay. The counter argument to that is if we make finals and we go out the first week, we've suddenly lost 5 consecutive finals in a row. So that's the counter argument.
Yeah, and look, and then you look at Collingwood. What's their expectation this year? Well, their expectation is to win it, and then they're going to lose over the next 2 years 10 players. Yeah, Maynard's going to leave as well, and how long can Howe go on for? They're going to start falling off, and then their expectations won't be premierships. It will be rebuild, okay? I would have thought, unless they're amazing like Geelong who just continually keep bouncing back. Their expectations would be, though, we're right in it right now.
They need to win it this year.
Absolutely. And if they don't, it'd be the greatest thing ever.
I agree. Last one, very last one, short answer. Kozzy, staying at Melbourne, what's your percentage?
Well, at this
right now.
stage, I would say, without any notice,
No, it's okay.
60-40, because I understand that Western Australian thing is such a divide. It's so far away, and when we lost Wiz, it was just so heartbreaking. Like for me, as a player at Melbourne, I just knew that was probably the end of things for us.
Yeah.
So I'm being a jaded Melbourne supporter, because we've lost so many in the past. That brings it to 40. It's probably 70-30 across the line, but for me, it's 60-40.
Okay, I'll take 60-40. I'm in a similar spot.
Yeah.
I'm almost more than 70. I got a really good feeling.
Good.
Everything I've been told, and again, some of the intel is internal, but it's only from one or two people. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident about the whole thing.
Good.
It helps when we're winning games of footy. It helps when we've developed a new game plan that seems to be working, and it looks like the boys all love each other again. They're smiling, they're hugging, they're kissing, they're winning games of footy.
Yeah.
So that helps. So I'm feeling quite confident about the whole thing, but yeah.
Well, look, Freo's not lighting the world on fire either. They've got some form over last week. Before that, you were like, "What's going on with Freo?" And the West Coast Eagles, we know where they're at. So you sell that story to them a little bit. Well, what are you walking into here? Do you think that he probably wants to be with his mate Dogger? But
yeah,
come on, Dogger, come back. We love you, dog.
I think he might be, although Rob doesn't think he's coming home. So there's a bit of conjecture in this studio. But Robbo, it's been a pleasure.
Always. Thanks for the T-shirt.
As always, and it's been very nice to just put up there the old Tui's jumper and the old LG one that
just brings
used to
back,
wear.
floods back memories, halcyon days. That one's a ripper.
Yeah,
and I love that they're wearing that one.
It's
at
beautiful. No, they're doing well. And I'll plug the T-shirt. Yeah, we've got the T-shirt here as well. I think there's still some of these available. So
I'm not taking this off today.
I love it. So I'll throw that one on the socials, and if you want to buy that particular piece of merchandise, I'll put it in the link in bio on YouTube. But Robbo,
do you know what? I'm going to take this off and sign it.
You're going to sign it?
I'm going to sign it, and it's going to have my sweat in it, and someone can buy it for $5. Come on, surely.
$5.
Probably put $5 more on it. Come on.
We'll just give it out for free. I think that's the value of it. But mate, we'll check in. We'll check in after a big run. So I think we've got St Kilda into Collingwood. We'll check in after King's birthday and we'll see where we're at. But it's a massive 2 weeks for this football club. And as always, I appreciate the time. The fans love you. And let's just hope the boys keep it rolling.
And I love the fans. So there you go.
And we love the club.